At the end of December 1978, severe abnormal frosts came to the territory of the Soviet Union. In many areas of the European part, the temperature dropped to minus 50 degrees Celsius. In Arkhangelsk, the thermometer showed minus 43 degrees Celsius. In Leningrad, minus 39 degrees. In Moscow, minus 37 degrees. And in the Moscow region, minus 45 degrees. A real Arctic frost not only spoiled the New Year celebration for hundreds of thousands of Soviet people, but also created truly extreme conditions in which many had to simply survive. In December 1978, many city residents noticed that the winter was snowless. Rural residents understood that this threatened problems with the harvest, since snow cover is necessary to preserve winter crops, especially if frosts come. These fears came true on December 28th, when a powerful anticyclone from the Kara Sea brought a strong cold snap that spread from the north of the country to the European part. The so-called ultrapolar invasion lowered thermometers to minus 37 degrees Celsius in Moscow on the night of December 30th, and to minus 48 degrees in the Urals. In the Kostroma and Chelyabinsk regions, temperatures dropped to minus 50 degrees Celsius, and in the east of the Komi Republic, forecasters recorded minus 58 degrees Celsius. According to experts, such severe frosts in the European part of the Soviet Union occurred once every 50 or even 80 years. Many compared the abnormal cold to the frosts of 1940-1941. In the USA, the harsh Soviet winter also drew attention. The immigrant newspaper New Russian Word, published in New York, devoted an entire article to the topic, reflecting on the possibility of a new approaching ice age. On television and radio, Soviet citizens were advised not to let children outside during the New Year holidays and to give up alcohol so as not to provoke accidents and to preserve the body's energy resources. In regions where the temperature dropped to minus 50 degrees Celsius, enterprises introduced shortened working days. At public utilities in many cities, a real catastrophe began. Pipes could not withstand attempts to increase the water temperature. In Ulyanovsk, where the temperature dropped to minus 45 degrees Celsius, central heating batteries burst and were only replaced a week later. In Moscow, on New Year's Eve, many areas experienced power outages. Water pipes burst, radiators turned cold, and people sat wrapped in warm clothes. Most were no longer in the mood for a holiday. To avoid freezing, people turned on gas stoves, ovens, and electric fireplaces, while listening to radio broadcasts urging citizens to save energy. But even these measures did not help. The walls of many apartments were covered in frost. A difficult situation developed with intercity passenger trains. Due to broken wires, people were forced to wait for hours for trains to arrive. Many Soviet citizens didn't have champagne or even regular lemonade on their tables. Tens of thousands of bottles burst in frozen store warehouses. Bread disappeared from many stores due to the abnormal frosts. It simply stopped being delivered. The severe cold caused serious damage to agriculture. A huge number of gardens perished, and as a result, in 1979, there was no harvest of plums, cherries, apples, or pears. The abnormal frost provoked many emergency incidents throughout the country. In the Tukhay region of the Republic of Tatarstan, a group of tourists from Pavlodar got caught in an ice trap. High school students had arrived on December 29th to make a ski trip to Lenin's places, with the final destination being the city of Kazan. They planned to walk 120 kilometers along the frozen bed of the Volga River. Already on the way, the tourists were overtaken by severe frost. It became impossible to continue. The teacher leading the group sent 2 school children back for help. Making their way through the snow, they began to run out of strength. Fortunately, they came across an abandoned forester's house, where on the morning of December 30th, they were discovered half frozen by a local tractor driver. He reported the situation, and to save the group, policemen Alexander Shlyak and Yevgeny Torgashev set out on a snowmobile. they managed to find the freezing tourists in different places. After building a large fire in a ravine, the policemen tried to warm the schoolchildren, who were then evacuated to the village of Dolgaya Polyana. Unfortunately, one participant of the route died. The severe frost almost caused a radiation disaster in the Urals. In December 1978, the region turned into a real Arctic. The Sverdlovsk region was enveloped in icy, sulfurous air. Thermometers showed -47 degrees Celsius, and behind burst pipes, the streets of cities were shrouded in dense fog. Everything was covered with a layer of ice. In such frost, on the night of December 31st, a fire broke out at the Beloyarsk nuclear power plant. According to the main version, the reinforced concrete structure of the machine room could not withstand the temperature difference. Outside, it was nearly -50 degrees, and inside it was extremely hot. A huge beam fell on the generator of the first power unit, breaking through the steam pipe, after which the oil unit caught fire. The fire began to spread through the cable tunnels. By some miracle, the hydrogen cylinders installed next to the turbines were not affected. When the fire brigade arrived, the main building of the unit was already engulfed in flames. The firefighters had several water trucks and one with a foaming agent to extinguish the burning oil. Meanwhile, due to the severe frost, the fire hoses froze to the ground. Moreover, the fire had already engulfed equipment, meaning it could spread through the cables to other rooms of the station. The cables had to be extinguished urgently. At the same time, it was not possible to turn off the electricity. First, the reactor had to be stopped. Then the firefighters began using the jet stream method, which protected them against an electric shock. In addition to eliminating the sources of fire, they had to ensure the safety of the personnel who continued to work at the nuclear power plant in gas masks. By that time, 300 buses and several trains had been prepared in case the population needed to be evacuated. Fortunately, with incredible effort, the fire was extinguished. It took 20 hours. The station continued to operate. After the new year, the frosts began to weaken. Even though the severe cold lasted for a short time, it managed to cause both domestic and environmental damage to the country. Please don't forget to subscribe and put a bell so not to miss new videos, or write a comment. Thanks for watching.